Welcome back to a course in circuit theory. Now we will proceed to the signal conditioning subsystem. We're going to be talking a little bit about the limitations and the procedure for how to properly provide a voltage source to a microcontroller. In this simplified model here, we just connected a switch to the microcontroller, and we mentioned before that the position of the switch is digital. It can either be open or closed, which provides a digital signal to the microcontroller. However, there are other issues that has to be analyzed before we can connect components directly to the microcontroller. The input to the microcontroller can be digital, as indicated here, and we said before that the microcontroller basically is a voltmeter, and it can measure the voltage coming in, and it separates those voltages into a high range or a low range to tell the microcontroller whether to read it as a 0 or a 1. Likewise, we can connect a manual analog input, which is controlled manually by moving the position of the potentiometer, or we can also do it in an automated sense, where we have a variable resistor here depending upon the temperature or the light. Also, there are other modules that are available excuse me, which can output various signals to the microcontroller. In either case, these all must be changed into some kind of digital format. Something that you have to consider: the voltmeter is an electrical component that's inside the microcontroller. Therefore, we have to be very careful as to how we load this component. Yes, the voltmeter is a load on the input. However, if you recall, the microcontroller itself has its own power supply. So we're looking at a multiple power supply network. You can imagine that this portion of the network here could be ES1, and you can think of this portion of the network as ES2. And these values inside the network can change. So since the voltmeter inside the microcontroller has its own power supply, then it can also act as a source for this network here. Ideally, what we want is we want the value of the resistor here to be much less than the value here, so it would not have an effect on the voltmeter. Typically, the resistance of the voltmeter inside the microcontroller is on the order of 10 megaohms, which means it receives very little current into the microcontroller, which means most of the current flows straight through your input circuit. But we have to be very careful about the value of RS. If it becomes too large, then it will start acting as a parallel circuit, which means the overall value at the input will begin to change depending upon what the value of RS might be. In the next video, I will continue this discussion and start providing more options, and also to clarify what I mean by the limitations of current regarding the microcontroller.